By the way, this section will get pretty disturbing, so skip ahead if you can't handle this.
Hello everyone, this is Godzilla. Dagon.
Kalapuya folklore. These were an indigenous tribe in what is now the state of Oregon. The myth states that Amhuluk was located near a lake near the Forked Mountain.
We're gonna react to why Amhuluk is scared of me.
Here is where the horrendous dragon-like creature was spotted. This monster was described as a quadruped creature with long, upward-facing horns on its skull. Its body was covered in fur except its legs. So this thing looked pretty horrifying.
Damn.
What's even more scary was what this creature enjoyed doing. Drowning others. Here's the messed up part of this monster. An old Kalapuya tale states that 3 kids were wandering near the lake where this furry dragon lived. Once spotting its beautiful horns, these kids decided to jump on this dragon, take its horns away, and use it for tools.
Oh no.
Obviously, this turned out to be a very bad idea, resulting in 2 of these kids getting impaled by the horns and staying there. The oldest surviving child later went to tell his dad, who later came over, only to witness the impaled children say, "We have changed bodies," before finally being drowned by Amhuluk. Yeah, see, I told you that you should have skipped ahead.
Oh,
so,
shit.
now that we know the disturbing origins of this mythological creature, let's now talk about the Monsterverse Amhuluk.
Yep.
This titan was first introduced in the film Godzilla King of the Monsters when it was awakened by Ghidorah with orders to wreak havoc in populated areas. But where? We just discussed that this cryptid Amhuluk lived in a random lake in Oregon. But not this Amhuluk. This titan lived in Russia. More specifically near the Manpupunner rock formations, which so happens to be surrounded by dense forests. This is also important. Stay tuned to see why later. Before Ghidorah's call to arms, Monarch had already set up camp in this area, building a research and containment facility for Titanus Amhuluk. But as most of us already know, this guy broke free from the enclosure and most likely headed towards the tourist center nearby.
Yeah, Ghidorah.
Roads, and ultimately killing off anyone who got in the way. This area of the map is sparsely populated. The next most inhabited city is 100 miles away, so we can guess that Amhuluk could have headed west to extend its path of destruction. The idea was for all the Titans to converge in Boston and finish off Godzilla. But only 5 Titans decided to show up. Fast forward a few months and the Titans begin stirring up trouble again, including Amhuluk. This time he's attacking one of the more benevolent Titans, Titanus
Behemoth.
A more or less peaceful but powerful Titan, known for its massive tusks.
I heard Behemoth not much of a fighter.
But not even these can protect it from this freak of nature. In the graphic novel Godzilla Dominion, Amhuluk travels down all the way to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, another densely wooded area and more populated. Here, Amhuluk decides to pick a fight with Titanus Behemoth and proceeds to land the first blow by knocking off one of Behemoth's tusks. This Titan apparently has some sort of elasticity property in its limbs, allowing it to reach far and deal tremendous damage. This is looking good for Amhuluk, but then they got company. Important thing to note here, the graphic novel proceeds to mention that both of these Titans are fighting for one thing: resources. So this is about to get ugly. Behemoth spits back with a hard blow with its remaining tusk, an impact that manages to knock the teeth out of Amhuluk. But remember, Titanus Amhuluk has better range and throws a punch so powerful that it knocks Behemoth flat on his ass. Godzilla arrived just on time to witness this. It was his prerogative as the Alpha to decide who keeps this particular territory. Godzilla's role in this planet is to establish order and supervise the restoration of nature. So that said, the better candidate to keep this jungle was Behemoth.
And I went after Amhuluk.
This guy's colossal feces act as a hyper-fertilizer, allowing plants to grow back at alarming rates, thus helping restore fair oxygen levels for the whole planet. Amhuluk's win in this battle would undo all of that. As Amhuluk drags Behemoth to drown him in deeper water, Godzilla intervenes by tossing him to the nearby rocky formation. This angers Amhuluk, but he's now facing a much more powerful Titan.
Damn right.
He proceeds to bow in front of Godzilla as an act of submission. Being saved by Godzilla, Behemoth re-enters his now-abandoned Monarch enclosure that was built on top of him a few years back. Amhuluk, on the other hand, now has to find another place to call home. So why didn't Amhuluk put up a fight against Godzilla? What about him
Yeah.
prevented him from taking this enormous risk? To find out, let's enter the Titan analysis.
Wasn't I
platform.
exhausted against
Titanus
Ghidorah?
Amhuluk
So,
is one of those Titans that
yeah.
you look at and have no idea how to classify it. That's because there is no other creature in the natural world that is composed in the same way. By closely observing the textures and corporal composition of this monster,
Goddamn.
we see
Wow.
that it resembles rooty or wooden textures sourced from aberrated vegetation, meaning that this animal is most likely about 90% made of, you guessed it, trees, roots, moss, vines, and anything that could be sourced from the surrounding flora. In this section, we will be quoting a few comments from artist Drew Edward Johnson, the illustrator of this kaiju. Perhaps the most important takeaway from this Titan is the fact that this monster, believe it or not, is actually composed of a head, spinal cord, and extended nerve connections. But what's even more interesting is how this Titan functions. Its head houses an extremely powerful brain with a capability known as telekinesis. This is a currently fictional ability to manipulate a physical space using non-physical contact, similar to what you see in Star Wars or other crazy movies. Admittedly, this ability is a little too ungrounded on the Monster vs. more realistic take on this universe, but the concept is simple. Using this extremely powerful brain, Amhuluk would be able to control the surrounding vegetation, lifting it up and literally sculpting its own body to this shape. 2 forelimbs and 4 legs, resulting in a highly maneuverable, flexible, and seemingly elastic kaiju. This image gives the illusion that Amhuluk's arms were elastic, but it was mentioned that this was in fact Amhuluk's ability to telepathically move the elements, creating his arm via telekinesis.
And just body the hell out of
Movement and
Behemoth.
speed of its arms
Yep.
weren't powered by muscles, but with its mind. How does this work? This is about to get really technical, but bear with us. This quote-unquote force that allows Amhuluk to move things telepathically can be explained by understanding particles known as gravitons. These haven't been proven to exist yet, but in essence, these are the literal components that make up a gravitational force. Let us explain. Visible light, radio waves, and other forms of radiation are made up of subatomic particles known as photons. Similarly, in this theory, gravity is composed of gravitons. In this case, Amhuluk's brain has the capability to manipulate these subatomic particles, allowing it to move objects. This, however, does have limitations, since it's mentioned that Amhuluk can move only plant matter, not non-organic objects such as metal or concrete. Now that we understand Amhuluk's body can only be made of densely packed vegetation, we now have the answer to 2 things. Number 1, as mentioned in the book, the reason Amhuluk and Behemoth fought over this territory was because of resources. Behemoth, being an animal that resembled a vegetarian creature, most likely fed on, you guessed it, vegetation. Amhuluk, on the other hand, needed this same vegetation to source its body's composition. If you didn't know, the Amazon rainforest is the largest rainforest in the world, containing millions of life forms, including lush vegetation, trees, vines, and precisely the type of stuff that Amhuluk would use.
Titans like they weren't aggressive back then until now.
This guy originally came from a place already surrounded by trees, but this place was even better, providing a huge variety of flora to further strengthen its corporal build. But being made out of vegetation can have its weaknesses. Number 2. Earlier in this video, we mentioned that Amhuluk did not even bother to put up a fight against Godzilla. This guy wasn't stupid either. Picking a fight with another Titan with incendiary capabilities would
atomic
easily
breath.
send a walking plant to the end credits. Not to mention that a bunch of vines and trunks jumbled up together would be relatively simple to blast through, meaning that Amhuluk wouldn't really ever pick fights with the likes of Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, and obviously the G-Man himself.
And maybe
Back
Kong.
to this creature's head. Since this is the only true part of its real body, this would technically mean that the only way to really kill off this creature is to destroy its head. Any injuries to its artificial body wouldn't really be detrimental to this Titan's well-being.
Only his head,
Just replace the lost body parts with more surrounding vegetation. That said, it has been theorized by creators of this Titan that this process of regenerating or recuperating body parts can be a lengthy process. This includes locating suitable material to create the new limbs and intertwining its nerve endings to the vegetation itself.
And Amhuluk can
It's also
swim.
theorized that this animal leaves leaves
Yep.
behind a trail of toxic discharge to the surrounding areas. If true, this would be yet another reason why Godzilla decided to have Behemoth live here, instead of having this toxic fella jeopardize the world's oxygen supply.
Yeah.
Today we learned that this animal is the strangest the Monsterverse has in its array of titans. But are there weirder things out there? Check out these videos and see
maybe.
if you can find a stranger kaiju and let us know which one is your favorite. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. And, dude, don't forget to subscribe.
Of course. Alright, that was it for this reaction video. Yep. This is Dagon here. Godzilla, the king of the monsters. That thermal Godzilla. So, yeah. Go subscribe to Goju Center's channel. And if you guys are new here, there we go. Comment, like, and subscribe. And, yeah. Support the channel. You want to see more videos like this. So, yeah. I'm gonna go. Also, guys, reason why we kind of went in instead of just introduced right off the bat, even though we did, but as we were watching, it's because I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go explode something. And comment down below what is the strangest Titans besides Amhuluk, or you guys think Amhuluk is the strangest. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later.